What is up, guys? Lord Nick here, bringing you another One Piece related video. In this video, guys, we are going to be looking at some adjustments, some changes that I have made to the list, and kind of going over why I've made these adjustments, how I've made these adjustments, what brought me to this position. Now, I think that the key with Rebecca, because of the fact that we have the ability to find a Dressrosa card pretty consistently or get back a lot of our 3 costs to 7 cost cards, we can actually run a lot of those 3 to 7s at 3 ofs if they're super important, 2 ofs if they're moderately important, just due to the fact that Rebecca has that ability to find them back. This gives us a card that finds them, this gives us a card that finds them, and then we're running 2 of the searchers, which allows us to find them as well. So because of that, we don't necessarily have to run a lot of our Dressrosa cards as a 4 of. This is kind of a theory I am testing, not necessarily a like proven fact. But one of the big things that I am changing to the list is we are maintaining about 19 non-counter cards, but I'm going back up to 3 Colosseums. I'm trying to see if maybe if we get the Colosseum more consistently early, does this change our matchups and ability to win against certain decks? Arguably, it should. It should enable us against like the Law matchup a little bit more to use like Hajrudin on curve as just a beat stick. Not necessarily have to use him for his KO ability unless we have a Brook set up somehow. But we did have a one of Leo that I did drop. I'm maintaining. I dropped all of our Moncheries. And I dropped our Hinas. So we have now added in Suleimans in placement of Hinas and in one of the Moncherie replacements. We've also replaced Moncherie with a Rob Lucci. So we have 2 Luccis for putting cards back in our deck. I think that's sufficient. I think having 2 copies of him pretty much, unless both of them end up in life and we don't take that life for a while, our threats of milling ourselves out are it's not super high. With the Suleimans, we get another card that can also kind of get cards off the top of our deck, but it does it 1 at a time opposed to 2 at a time, so we actually have a little bit more selection there. The turn it comes out, it can potentially be a Hina if they have a rested character we can swing into. Now, note, he doesn't even have to be able to KO said character he's swinging into. He is just setting us up with another -2, which is a total of -4, so he can be a Hina with 1k less power on the attack. The big upside is that he is a 1k counter, which Hina is a no counter. So that is a big upside in comparison. But on top of that, if we look at it, what is the other big thing? Well, he's searchable. He's playable off of our Scarlet, so that's a really nice little combo piece that potentially happens there. And then, like I said, he only mills 1 card at a time. So later on, as we're trying to fill up our trash to a certain breakpoint, yeah, it does slow down a little bit, but it also prevents us from over milling ourselves and putting us into a negative position of where it's like, oh gosh, we're kind of forced to have to play a Lucci this turn just to keep us alive. Whereas Orlumbus forces 2 a turn, that can become problematic. So it is nice. He is also a recurring 2, and kind of the big thing of why do I care about a recurring -2 that's not very high. It is high enough in a lot of situations to make a breakpoint for us, which is something really big, right? Like if we have him on board and an Orlumbus on board, say we swing the 2, we get that 2 power, that -2, and then we have the Orlumbus to KO something. Well, we can KO the Suleiman, and now we've -6 something, and then we could play our Lucci and pop an 8 drop, or we could drop a Kyros and pop a 7 drop, which I think is very valuable power play that this deck now has available to it. What does this deck miss currently? Well, right now, one of the things that it can miss pretty heavily is the fact that we don't have a 1-drop popper like in Leo, so there's not a lot of synergy in that regard. The reason we dropped it is that while Leo is really good potentially with Kuzan in the late game, he's a great card that we could get back with our Gecko. I just didn't end up valuing it as much as I could have probably. I just didn't see it being as much of a necessity. It could be a nice 1 of, but figuring out where that 1 of fits in, because I wanted to add in the 2 Giats to add in some synergy with the Colosseums, give us a couple more 2Ks. Like, it just became difficult to figure out the spot for it. Technically, you could probably drop down the Luccis, or maybe you could drop a Brook, but I like the consistency that Brook is a constant threat that forces removal out of my opponent. whereas Leo is not necessarily a force of removal. And yes, he adds synergy for Gecko, but Gecko has enough synergy between like the Rebecca Scarlet combo, or just getting us a Rebecca Searcher. I don't necessarily think the one drop popper is going to be as much of a necessity for us. And without the Hinas, it's not as synergistic with something either. So that being the case, we are then looking into just develop more consistency and more mid-game power ability with this deck, just to kind of shore up some of the weaknesses of this list, which was the fact that its mid-game can be kind of controlled by a lot of different decks. Man, we've been seeing a lot of Zanjis recently. This isn't a terrible hand, but it's not a hand that I necessarily want to see early. This actually turns into an okay hand. We'll just draw. We'll take a Rebecca Searcher. So our next turn, unless he drops like a 1-drop, is just going to be Coliseum, Search with Leader, Rebecca Searcher. Okay, he didn't drop it, so Coliseum, draw with Leader, get a Kyros, drop a Rebecca Searcher. Can't take the Rebecca. That kind of stinks. So I don't really need another Kyros in hand, so we'll take a Sabo. At worst case scenario, we can develop a Sabo this next turn, so we can get a blocker in case he develops something that's very annoying for us to deal with. If he puts down like a... if he puts down something like a... what's her name? The Sugar, then we can actually pop a Sugar. Not like he's going to play it here. So he's going 6 at face. We're not going to block, but we are going to... because we don't have one, but we will 2K here. That is a card we kind of want to pop right away, because that's telling me that he has 7 Warlords package here, which means he can actually just become criminally valuable into us. We're gonna -3. We are gonna develop the Brook, so pop this, pass. So we want the Brook out. I don't think he's gonna have a whole lot on 6 to get rid of the Brook. In his colors, he is running the Warlords package, so he's running the green-blue Warlords version of this build, which, if you haven't seen it, is actually kind of a powerful build, with a lot of the built-in synergies. We want to save the Gyats for stuff, so we are actually just going to eat the hit. There's his Jinbei into what? What do you got? What you got? What you got, bud? Another Dofi. Okay. So this turn, what can we do? We can swing our Olympus into this, right? So we play this, do the Gyats, give him a 6 here, reduce this, pop this with Brook. I think that's the play. Seven and a 4. Do you got 2Ks you want to pop to keep this guy alive? Oh, cool. You 2K countered a 4K swing. Let's go! We hit a card out of his hand. All right, he's bouncing his Sengoku to try to get him some more cards, which is good sign for us. He's probably going to just swing all into this now, so just 7K into this. We don't have a way of keeping him alive, so we let him die. Oh, he's just going face. All right, so he just told me that he's okay with falling behind this turn. So we actually... No, we play the Sabo first. We don't really think there's a way for him to... We want to hold on to you. We can drop our Rebecca Searcher and our Scarlet, because we want to hold on to this. And now we can just minus, not have to care about anything, deploy, pop, and then we get to swing 5 at lead, pop the Sengoku. All right, and just like that, we've manipulated and controlled him out, and he just understands that he's now in just such a losing state that this is just going to go really badly for him, which is fine by us. If he swung 5, we just give him a 2K, and then he drops a Dofi and doesn't get to do anything. He'd get to lock up Rook, which is annoying, but not necessarily game-altering. So yeah, we just beat, you know, I wouldn't say a meta deck, but it is a deck that runs a lot of meta cards in it. So there's that. Um, all right, a non-meta deck. Let's go. All right, let's go second. We'll play this one out, and hopefully we'll find an actual meta deck after this. So because these are going kind of fast, we will actually keep this. Early Brook isn't terrible. Having a Coliseum for our turn one is pretty good because we're just going to search with leader anyways. So we're going to search. So yeah, search. We'll take the Rebecca, deploy the Coliseum, pass turn. Wish this was a character so that we could just like Rebecca get something back. He is going to deploy a character this turn with his Arlong ability. Like, almost assuredly he will. Yeah, he got a Kiko. We'll eat it. We are not in a good spot here. Not going to lie. But we are going to deploy him, and we'll pass. He's just going to get his Kiku to the point that he gets to heal off of it, which is going to be annoying for us, but it's just something we have to deal with because of the fact that he's going to have a lot of early pressure and tempo into us. I would not be surprised if we actually lost a game into him based off of just what we've drawn. We have no counter power, and we have a lot of our late game like bomb cards here. But, you know, our survivability here is going to be a little bit weird. So we will have the potential this next turn to be like a Giat. So like if he deploys something that we can easily pop by swinging into it with this. All right, deploy a Cracker. Not necessarily easily poppable, but a card that we can deal with. Yeah, no block, resolve, no trigger. And then you can swing 8, put me to 2. That's gonna be rough. He's not doing that though. I don't really want to use the Giats here, but we have no other counter in hand, so that's just what we have to do. And some of you might be wondering, well, why don't you want to use the Giats there? Well, because I would like to keep my Orlumbus alive this turn. Man, this hand is so bad. We drew so poorly here. I want to deal with the Cracker, but he doesn't do anything because now we're below, so he's just like he doesn't even pump himself because we don't have less life than our opponent. We don't have a card in trash. We can play Rebecca, deploy a Brook to pop one of these. Seeing as we're going to be doing that play anyways, we're going to attack 7 into Kikinojo, try to eat a 2k out of his hand. Gotta KO him, deploy. We're going to grab a Sabo, we're going to deploy, pop, pop, pass. All right, we have developed a Brook. He needs to answer the Brook. We have a Sabo, which stalls a little bit for us. Man, this is not a good draw. Sadly, we can survive this because he doesn't have a whole lot of cards drawing in his hand here. But he's just going to be able to just keep up pressure on our life, and there's not much we can do. If we had a Gravity Blade, so when he develops a character this turn, if we had a Gravity Blade, we'd be fine. If he just swings 7 here, then we take it. If he wants to just start trying to clear our board, we take it because we need to stall. Yep, that's exactly fine. That's fine. We're going to hold on to the Rebecca blocker here, so even if he just does, like, you know, that exactly. Yeah, we're just gonna eat that. What does he play? He plays a Zanji. Alright, we'll resolve it. We have a 2k in hand now. Alright. Oh boy, is that a good hit, actually. We keep this in hand because it's just a card for Sanji to cycle this next turn. We can't use a leader ability. We don't have a Searcher Rebecca. We didn't get to develop anything this turn, but we're in stall mode right now anyways. So we're perfectly okay with this. And we know he's not going to have like a ton of cards to develop in terms of like, he can play 2 characters this turn, sure. I doubt he runs anything that's like a top end card that's super useful. Okay, so you have a Fisher Tiger. So you're going to rest my blocker, and I'm assuming you're going to KO her with him. And then you're going to swing at me and develop a character. And no block, you get her. Are you going to put 3, swing, what is that, 8 at me? Nope, he's just swinging 6, 7. What's he deploying? He's not deploying anything. So yeah, we just give him 2 cards, survive it. Drop, KO the tiger, pass. I mean, he could Hody this turn, and he puts me to 0, but then we can actually just, like, Rebecca, do we have any, Rebecca, get back a Brook, doesn't actually deal with the Hody, actually, so we can't do that. Hody is a 7 cost. Oh, he does not have the Hody, so he's just going for life. Developing her, oh wow, yep, you get the card. But if that's all you do, we're okay with this. This is fine by us. Now we swing. If this isn't a trigger character, we're Gucci. We're just good. We just play the Rebecca, get back the Kiros, pop, play a Sabo, get us some cards in hand. If it is a character, then we're just gonna Lucci Sabo. What you got, bud? Okay, no deploy. All right, deploy, grab, deploy, pop. We have 6, so we actually draw first here. Take you, deploy a Sabo, get rid, pass. So he needs a Hody to win this, and even then he can't because we have enough counter to actually survive it. Which I assume he's running Hody because he's Arlong, and Hody's just a really good. Well, it doesn't matter that he's Arlong. Hody's just a really. He's green, and Hody's just a really good green finisher. And so I mean, it's just like Hody for game, get some game here. Especially because like next turn, all I can do is use like Gecko, get back a Rebecca. Nope, no Hody. Block. Okay, we need a Sabo back here. We attack. Cancel. We do 1. 6 of life. Return. Turn. Turn. Grab a 2K. We don't swing with the blocker because that's just stupid. And then next turn we have lethal. So, because we just do math and we should have lethal, or we can play it a little smart if we. Playing it smart's kind of rough here. Actually, it's not necessarily playing it smart to not go for lethal this next turn. It's really relative to what he does this turn. Because if he doesn't Hody this turn, or well, actually, if he does Hody this turn and he doesn't try to clear board, then we just have enough attackers that we can just get in for it, right? Like we can do, like we make him an 8. 8 takes 3 cards out of hand. We do 8 here, so 2 Dawn investment takes 8. Takes 3 cards out of his hand if he doesn't want to take it. If he does take it, we do another 8. And takes another 3 out. That leaves him with 4 cards. We then swing our 10. I imagine he takes the 10. If he doesn't, we still have a blocker up, and then we just have to develop another blocker or 2 if we have it. If we have, for what is that? That's 5 Dawn. We can't develop 2 blockers with 5 Dawn, so we need to keep it at 6 Dawn. So it'd be probably like 8 and then a 7. Or it'd probably be 7 and then an 8, but what, you got 7 card? 7 cost? Okay, so you're playing 1. You risk the him? No block. Give you 2/2K so I don't have to block. What you got for 6? Ah, he's KOing the Lucci. That's kind of cool. We're good with that, honestly, because now you have less cards in hand. So, cancel that. We do 6 at lead. Try to get a 2K out of his hand. Hope there's not an Onami in life. Pray there's not an Onami in life. It's not an Onami. So, Boy Gecko. So 1. You over him. Him first. Use card action. We put you back. Put Gecko back. We put you back. Doesn't really matter which one we take. So you and you. You will take a Scarlet. You'll take a Rebecca Searcher, I guess. It doesn't really matter which of those we take. We pass turn. So now he has potentially 3 attacks, but I have a ton of counter in hand. Like I said, Hody here, Hody rest, just try to clear board, but now we have a board state. So, like, this is actually, I mean, this is a fine showcase of us versus an aggro deck. It's not necessarily a good aggro deck, but it's an aggro deck nonetheless. Same thing kind of with the Zanji. Not necessarily a good one, but we beat it. I mean, so we're beating kind of the meme-ish tiers pretty consistently. You know, I did say that I thought that this might be kind of a rough one for us, just based off of that opening hand. But it, you know, it showcased even with a bad opening hand, we were able to kind of get through this. No, we blocked that. He didn't play a character. All right, so he's got 4 cards in hand. 2K, 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 2K. So let's make this a 12. Okay. $10. Oh shit, I lose here, huh? Because I fucked up. Did I fuck up? I didn't fuck up. We're fine. No! Where's my Kiroses, damn it? Maybe we fucked up. Eat the blocker. Haha! Try to take out his other attacker. The rush. Yeah, we fucked up. I forgot about Brule. I mean, we could have bottom decked them both and then done 10, but even if that, based off of the fact that he was running this card, he would have gotten there. What you got? What you got, bud? Does Hody win him? No, Hody doesn't win him. So he has no way to win now. because I still have 1 life. So even with the Hody, we have enough counter in hand. He has no way of winning. He has to put up blockers, but we've won. So like, just clearing his board means we win because he doesn't have a third attack. So like, if he had Hody here, that would leave him with 3 Dawn. With that guy, he can make him a 5K, which would force counter. 6K, I could counter out of, and then an 8K, we just eat. So like, yeah, even with his character surviving last turn and a Hody, he wouldn't win just because of the hand we have. We are kind of playing with our food a little bit. I thought this would be a fast game, but there's a couple turns that I almost misplayed, and then there was a couple turns where my opponent has just been taking a very long time to try to figure out if he can survive or win. Kind of running out of things to talk about because unless he can just develop like 3 blockers, and swing at me for a ton. No block. You just okay. Thank you, bud. Okay, there's your Hody. Yeah. So yeah, didn't expect that to go as long as it took. But I mean, we did also have kind of a bad hand start. Like our hand's initial start was pretty rough. But ultimately went pretty well for us. I wish we'd had better matchups here. I thought we were going to have enough time to drop into another one, but I don't like going to 30-minute videos because I don't think you guys enjoy 30-minute videos. So we're just going to kind of leave it there. We are going to showcase the list one more time just so people who didn't see it at the beginning for whatever reason can now look at it now. If you guys like the video, make sure to like the video. If you have something you want to share about this build or your own experience with Rebecca, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. And if you're not already, please subscribe. Subscribing helps with just like making my videos more seen, which is cool, and then gets us more friends and more people to come in with their opinions and responses to this stuff. Until the next video, guys, I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. Bye, guys.